using this one tool can exponentially increase your productivity in studying. Hi, and welcome to the Law Simplified, the world's largest independent online law school platform. I'm your instructor, Shaveen Bandardanayaka. There is a hidden art, so to speak, and a skill that many students in contemporary contexts have opted out of for a number of reasons. Technology being one, and peer pressure being another. If you like the type of content that I make on this YouTube channel, do subscribe to the Law Simplified and leave a comment below of what other types of content that you'd like to see. If you are a first, second or third year law student, I would highly recommend the comprehensive online law school platform, complete with theory, tutorial and workshop lessons based on the actual one-on-ones that I've conducted with first-class law students globally. Now, I started this video off by saying that there's a tool that you could use that will exponentially increase productivity. Arguably, that is a bold claim. But let me provide some context to why I'm saying that before revealing what this tool is. And it's something that might already be in your repertoire, something that you might be already doing, but perhaps not utilizing in the proper manner. For anyone who has started doing a law degree, or especially for those who might be coming in from a different background or a vocation altogether, you'd notice and appreciate the distinction between law and most other fraternities or most other professions altogether. One reason for this, academically as well as professionally, is because law demands not just understanding and articulation in a manner which is argumentative or adversarial, but also a level or a threshold of memory that might not necessarily be needed, bar perhaps from medicine, in any other profession. Now, to that extent, some of us might be really good at, on the one hand, memorizing certain aspects in terms of key principles in law, or something that I don't recommend per se, but memorizing case names and case law altogether. Some of us might just be very good at understanding how the law operates, but lousy at really retaining that information. In both aspects, irrespective of the type of student that you are or the type of professional that you are, there is one technique that is a skill, I would argue, that has essentially been honed over decades and centuries, that through the advent of technology, the internet, as well as peer pressure, seems to have taken a back seat altogether. So, what's this tool that I speak of? Very simple, and it's something that's often referred to as being mightier than the sword. The pen. Now, you might think this is relatively anticlimactic, but give me an opportunity to try and impress upon you what I'm trying to get at. I have now been teaching law for over a decade, and in that period, I've had the privilege of encountering a plethora of students from all walks of life in different jurisdictions around the world. The students that often succeed, be it from my fast track or masterclass programs, are often those who have employed relatively traditional techniques of study. What do I mean by this? Usually, I can categorize my students into one of two camps. You have the early adopters in terms of technology, who technically want the newest and the best thing possible to try and retain the information. It might be typing things up, it might be creating notes, it might be creating spider graphs or something similar to it, all in a digital scape. Basically, trying to translate what they're learning through a keyboard or through a touchscreen onto a digital device. On the other hand, you have the polar opposite type of student who will be very brick and mortar-esque, so to speak. And what I mean by that is they'd have their books, they'd have their pens, their pencils, their rulers, their erasers, and be very traditional. Now, what I've noticed among both classes of students, and although they are successful in their own right, is that the traditional student, the one who tries to commit things to memory or understand things by transferring that knowledge physically by virtue of a pen or a pencil onto paper, fares exponentially better in the long run in terms of their productivity than those who use digital devices. So it's not really about whether one class of student is faring better in terms of their understanding than the other, but it's just the fact that the timing is vastly different, which means that the student that uses a traditional method of committing things to memory has more time on their hands to read around the subject, to understand a bit more than the more modern, contemporary, digital student, so to speak. Right. The reason why I made this video is because I've often seen a lot of students tend to try and articulate their understanding of things in as many high-tech or advanced ways as possible. And for the most part, this might sound at least indirectly hypocritical, considering that this entire premise, the Law Simplified, the online law school, the one-on-one sessions, all of that would not be possible without this digital infrastructure that's in place. Now, while I am grateful and I myself could be considered a creature of this digital space, there are certain things that are still much more valuable and efficient in its most traditional and basic or fundamental format than that of the digital realm. So remember, in terms of a tool, the pen is not just mightier than the sword. It might make your study pattern and your success in an examination much more fruitful, effective, and productive. That being said, until the next time that we meet, have fun, stay safe, and as always, obey the law.